welcome to another episode of At the Bar for StockPulse and Mining Clips. I'm Kelly Earle with Skeena Resources, and I'm joined by Brent Cook with Exploration Insights and Mick Fulp, the Mercenary Geologist, and we're here for the Cambridge House Show, the May edition. Gentlemen, welcome. Thank you for joining me once again at one of my favorite bars in Vancouver, which is called Nightingale.
Thanks for putting up with us.
Yes. Yes. So I wanted to talk today about projects that you're seeing, site visits, where are you going, what are you liking? At least in the northern climates, the field season is upon us. So where have you been lately? What are you liking? Or perhaps you haven't been anywhere and you're not seeing anything that you like. So Brent, you want to start us off?
2 weeks ago, I was in Mexico looking at Evrim Resources discovery at Qual. That was really interesting. This is a stock we've owned for 10 cents, bought again at 25 cents. It's now about $1.25. They've made what looks like potentially a major discovery. And what I liked about it is cool. You usually go to projects, it's like, oh man, this is wrong, or this is wrong, or this is wrong. But you could break this rock up with your hand, pan gold out of it. You know, it's an ideal mining situation. Processing is going to be cheap, but there's no drill hole, so we don't know what it is. So that was pretty interesting.
So I was a bit surprised, that for how much you like it, because there are no drill results yet. And normally, we say drill it or kill it. So I was curious to know why you like it so much without any drill results out yet.
I guess the geologic setting, it's an oxidized high sulfidation system. We've got X and Y, we just need Z. But those trench results, trench sampling, they're not quite as good as drill hole, but they're pretty damn good. And the consistency along, it wasn't just a couple of high grade hits smeared. Every sample had some gold in it. So it's early stage, I don't know I wish I knew what was going to happen at depth, but it still looked good. I mean, it's worth.
But would you say in general, because of that deposit type, you can tell a lot, but for most deposits, you really do need drill results?
No, I don't think so.
No?
No, I mean, we bought Kamenek when they put out their trenches.
Okay.
Because, you can see stuff. Trenching, soil sampling. I mean, I bought soil samples. You probably have too. Just if you get the right geologic setting and soil samples that validate what you're looking for, I'll buy them.
How do you feel about that? Buying in before drilling?
Yeah. Well, I go in a lot of times before drilling. But it's risky. I can tell you a high sulfidation system in Peru that I bought into 4 or 5 years ago with surface samples and with trenching in oxidized material. And as soon as it was drilled, you were in sulfide and the gold went away. And you can get that through hypogene alteration where actually there's gold in the oxide and there's no gold in the sulfide below. So it can be a bit of a risk. I think in a situation I've been and looked at Evrim, you want to make sure you have big, broad alteration halos, and which gives you an indication that you are into a large hydrothermal alteration system. If you don't see that, I would say beware of this phenomena where oxidized hypogene with gold, sulfide hypogene, no gold.
Okay, good.
No, for sure. I mean, I've seen that too. In fact, I remember in Nicaragua many years ago, came across this beautiful, beautiful low sulfidation epithermal vein, just banded. It was like 16 meters across. You could sample it and get up to 24 grams.
Wow.
It was like, this is it. Slam dunk. It was the guy behind us, actually.
Oh!
And, it was fantastic discovery. They drilled it. This thing just went to that within 25
That's why
years.
they call it the old true tool, okay?
Right. Welcome
no matter
to exploration.
what geologists project in the third dimension, until you drill it, you don't know. So, a very famous econ geologist from the turn of the century, J.E. Spur, ran the USGS in its early days, said something quite profound one time. He said, geologists may write extravaganzas, but only God can make bonanzas.
That's a great quote, actually.
Okay.
And it's true. It's a
So
risky business.
we need to drill. You know.
Yes.
Oh, for sure.
Yes. So, what deposits have you visited lately? Have you seen that you like, or?
Well, I haven't been to a lot lately because I haven't found a lot to go to, especially where I would be going, and they're just now coming in to the field season, even in places like northern Nevada.
Yep.
Because you get the snow, and then you can't set foot on these things oftentimes in April because of the mud. That said, I was in Mexico, looked at a project in Mexico, and it was, in a word, disappointing. So I'm not going to tell you what it was. I'm not going to give any more information other than the fact that what I expected to see on the surface, I saw the mineralization, but the geometry was wrong for the type of deposit I was. In other words, this one dipped into the mountain. So all of a sudden you're looking at a big mountain above you, and you can't mine it open pit.
So that's a good question. How many projects, you guys travel all over the world, you see a lot of assets. How many site visits do you do that actually turn into you guys recommending something?
Well, last year, Joe and I visited, I think we counted up 33 properties.
Wow.
And out of those, I'm going to estimate, but we probably bought into 5 of them.
Wow. Okay.
And you know, we're screening. I don't want to get on a plane for fun.
Yeah.
We screen these things.
How many invites do you guys get for a project?
A lot more than I go to.
Yeah.
So I probably have an even higher filter.
Okay.
So I'm looking for specific things. Probably about half of what I visit, I will end up covering because I've done enough due diligence to begin with that sometimes it's just a matter of walking and seeing onto the ground and seeing the terrain. So I think I don't go on nearly as many site visits, and I probably have, I would dare say, rightly or wrongly, have a little bit higher filter than maybe you guys do in terms of.
No, I think you guys.
Not really for, but I screen more stuff and probably eliminate things that I should go see, but there's something else wrong with it.
So as someone who works for a junior that neither one of you cover, I would say you're both. You're both, but picky is a good thing, right? Look at the junior mining space. There's 1,200 TSXV listed companies in Vancouver. You need to be picky.
I'm 3 or 4 years older than Brent, and I think we'll both agree the older we get, the more we see, the less we like. So maybe that helps explain.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm really, because this is my money.
Yes. Yeah.
And likewise, but it's got to be good. And you know, the projects we went to, you know, in Argentina and Chile, they looked really good. The project in Mexico looked really good. I can't remember where else we've been right off the top of my head.
Yep.
I went and looked at a project in Finland that I thought for sure I was going to buy.
Oh, I know that
And I
project.
ended up not buying it.
See, I never even went and looked at that because I didn't like the way the sampling was done to begin with. So I was suspect, and I was a shareholder.
Yep.
Okay, I was a shareholder, and I immediately decided, based on the promotion and the way that whole thing played out, well, hell, I'm already a shareholder, and I'm just going to take profits because I don't like the way this thing was presented, like the way it potentially ran on nothing but high-graded grab samples. I said, well, I'll just play it out, sell my stock, and go find something else to speculate in.
Yep.
Now, bear in mind that particular company, and there's no reason to mention their name, but I've been a shareholder for 5 years before it finally went off.
Yep. So.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you probably got in the same private placement I did.
Yeah, way back when.
Yeah, way back when.
It was way under for a long
long before it
That happens
had
regularly.
a sniff of Finland, right?
So while I was at the conference today, I had some other people in the industry who know that I host this with you, and they asked me a really good question that they wanted to know the answer to. because they like that this show is quite candid. So they wanted to know, what is the biggest investment mistake that you guys made? What was just something you put your money into that just imploded upon itself? And, what was the outcome and what did you learn from it and how did you grow? Because if you've been in the industry as long as you guys have, I'm sure you haven't always picked winners across the board. So I want to know about the worst investment you made in the junior mining
number
space.
one, they're not investments to begin with, they're speculation.
Yes, that's a good point.
I'll go first.
Yeah, you're older.
Exactly. By a couple of years, I think. So about 3 years ago, I was presented with a uranium producer, or ex-producer, that had moved into Turkey and
Uranium in Turkey, okay.
and had a quite compelling ISR project in central Turkey, with about 3 or 4 times the grade of what we would find in South Texas or Wyoming. These guys are experienced uranium producers of South Texas. They had two ISR plants, one which they're going to move to Turkey. And so I bought the stock. I did lots of due diligence, probably more due diligence than I normally do, because
it's Turkey.
And it's a NASDAQ listed company.
Okay.
Within 6 months, they had to roll back because you have to have a dollar price on NASDAQ.
Yes.
So I got rolled back 10 or 12 to 1. Within a year, the uranium market had gone to the crapper. That was not such a big concern because I have patience.
Yep.
But really what became of concern is all of a sudden this NASDAQ listed, historically important U.S. uranium producer became a lithium brine explorer in Nevada, and they recently bought a completely sub-economic, low-grade graphite deposit in Alabama, and they are now currently trading in the mid 40-cent range on the NASDAQ.
You bought in at what price?
Including rollbacks.
Yeah, well, cost basis now is beyond ridiculousness. I probably bought it somewhere around $1.20, $1.50. I can't remember.
So how?
So now just let me finish, okay? One last thought. So because they have less than $1 share price, they're going to have to roll back again on NASDAQ.
Oh, Mickey. What?
And not only that, but in retrospect, I did so much due diligence, but I neglected to look at the insider holdings.
Okay.
So I don't have skin in the game.
So that's the lesson learned from that one. Always check the share register and see who's involved. Yep. That's true. Brent, your turn.
Wow, there's been a few. Quite a few. I can't say this is the worst, but what comes to mind is a company called Glass Earth.
Glass Earth.
Glass Earth.
Right.
I didn't know that
in
one.
New Zealand.
In New Zealand. They had a vein, a property adjacent to the Martha mine, the Wahi mine, which is nice. It's produced like 10 million ounces.
Yep.
Now it's owned by Oceana, was Newmont. And they had this vein. It was a beautiful vein. It was difficult to drill. They had permitting, the vein was there.
Yep.
Good guy, solid geologist, based in New Zealand. But they just couldn't, they kept having to spend money without any results. And they had some alluvial properties on the South Island. So they decided, we'll make the money on the alluvial mining so we can, don't have to dilute, we can keep drilling up here. So I went and looked at the alluvial operation. It's like, yeah, okay. But, that I think it's delisted now, went to zero. But I guess what I learned is that in these junior stocks, you've got to have an investment thesis.
Right.
This is what I need to see.
Yes.
To stay in this thing. This is why. And the mistake I've made, and I think a lot of people make, is that fails, then you go, yeah, but maybe over here. I hope.
Right.
I hope.
What
Once you
else
say
can I
hope-
do with this
once you say
project?
hope, you've
Yes.
lost money. Now I'll just take the loss. And I don't care anymore.
So my story does not end as badly as you might think. So I still hold the shares.
Oh, wow.
And I have essentially a $14,000 tax loss, U.S. tax loss, which I'll write off against profits this
That's-
year. But they pay me $24,000 to cover the company, so I can rationalize the fact that I've made, not only generated it, but I came out $10,000 that hadn't generated a tax
You know what?
loss.
That's a great note to end on, and that's why you're called the Mercenary Geologist. So, gentlemen, thank you once again for joining me for another edition of At the Bar for StockPulse and Mining Clips. Cheers.
Thank you.